And the inauguration is a peaceful transition of power from one president to another and a sacred tradition of our American democracy. ABC's Danny New has a look at memorable moments, traditions, and forming of new traditions on Inauguration Day.
Ask what you can do for your country.
During his inaugural address in 1961, President John F. Kennedy asked one of the most famous questions in American history. But did you know that day he also honored history when he became the last president to uphold the tradition of wearing a top hat?
There was formal garb that outgoing and incoming presidents wore to the inauguration.
I spoke with ABC News presidential historian Mark Updegrove about memorable inaugurations in history. For example, there was the longest speech ever in 1841 by William Henry Harrison. It lasted almost 2 hours and was famously thought to have led to his death a month later from pneumonia until now.
There's now evidence that he might have died from typhoid fever.
I, Jimmy Carter, do solemnly swear.
In 1977, if you caught that there, President Jimmy Carter became the first to keep his nickname when he swore in, Jimmy. And then he maintained more of that famous down-to-earth personality when he created the tradition of walking down Pennsylvania Avenue toward the White House.
My love has come along.
And of course, we've also had many famous musical performances, especially at the inaugural ball, like Beyoncé singing At Last in 2009 while President Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama slow danced. Musicians have often gotten involved, like in 1961 with the inauguration gala that Frank Sinatra produced for the Kennedys. And maybe you remember this in 1993, Michael Jackson and Fleetwood Mac teaming up to sing Bill Clinton's campaign song, Fleetwood Mac's Don't Stop. And speaking of President Clinton,
you will be our president when you read this note. I wish you well.
When he took office in 1993, Clinton received this handwritten letter from his predecessor and the man he defeated in the election, President George H.W. Bush. In 2018, he actually spoke with Updegrove about how much this meant to him.
It was profoundly moving to me personally.
So that tradition actually started with President Reagan when he left a letter for President Bush, who was his vice president. So for H.W. to then do the same for the man who he lost to, clearly a very powerful gesture. In New York, for ABC News, I'm Danny New.